Welcome to China in Focus. I'm Tiffany Meyer. Our top story. All eyes are on whether the U.S. and China can make a tariff deal. In the meantime, a sharp decline in Chinese goods flowing into the U.S. What's the current status quo? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the U.S. may sign its first tariff deal with India. More on his comments on China's recent exemption of U.S. goods from tariffs.
I believe that it's up to China to de-escalate because they sell 5 times more to us than we sell to them.
I agree.
Canadians are heading to the polls to elect their next leader. This as both parties lay out plans to handle the China threat. And how has the Chinese Communist Party enabled the Kremlin's war machine and extended a lifeline to the Russian economy? Our Washington correspondent breaks it down. Chinese imports coming into the U.S. are taking a plunge amid the tariff war. That's according to businesses handling shipments between China and the U.S., both by air and sea, which spoke to the Financial Times. Goods between countries are mainly shipped via containers. By mid-April, bookings for standard shipping containers from China to the U.S. are 45% lower than a year earlier. The data comes from container tracking service Vizion. Ports are also feeling the effects. The Port of Los Angeles is the main U.S. entry point for Chinese imports. The port estimates that starting next week, the number of Chinese shipments will be down by a third of last year's figure. Cargo carriers that ship goods from Asia to the LA port also have canceled 20 port calls in May. Hapag-Lloyd is one of the largest container shipping lanes. It said its Chinese customers have canceled about 30% of its bookings. A Taiwanese container shipping company called TS Lines has suspended.
That's not really showing what I'm trying to show. So we're going to go with something else.
Lightning definitely made me feel broken.
Trump's shocking revelation. Trump's big remark shocks America. Then shock me. What is it?
Inviting everyone here today and every citizen across our land to take part in the most extraordinary period of peace, prosperity, growth, innovation, wealth creation, and expansion the world has ever seen.
That all sounds
We're on our
good.
way. I mean, everyone's talking about us. 3 weeks. We're in there for a couple of days more than 3 weeks. And everyone's talking about it. You have to see the crowds of people outside. It's pretty amazing what's happening. We're on the verge of soaring markets, surging incomes, booming production, groundbreaking technologies, thrilling discoveries, and a quantum leap in the quality of life. Absolutely a quantum leap. One day, very soon, our country will have the greatest economy in the history of the world because we once again have a president who puts America first, and we put America first, and your country should put your country first. But in the end, we want America first, and when it's all beautiful, which it's going to be pretty soon, we want to help other countries, and you want to help other countries. But, you know, I tell your leaders, and some of the leaders are in this room right now, you've got to put your country first. Whether it's Saudi Arabia, whether it's something else, you've got to put your country first. But we're going to have plenty left over to help others also. As long as you invest in America, build in America, and hire in America, that means that I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting very hard for you. Together, we're going to make the United States of America bigger, better, bolder, richer, and greater than ever before. It's going to be stronger than ever before. We're going to be a peacemaker and a peacekeeper. We're going to stop people from these stupid, never-ending wars. We're not going to partake in them ourselves, but we'll be stronger and more powerful than anybody by far. And if it ever came to war, there is nobody that will be able to come close to us. But we don't think that's going to ever happen. So I want to thank you all very much. It's a great honor to be here. And I think somebody said they're going to ask questions. And I didn't say, gee, what are the questions like Biden does? I say, just ask. It doesn't matter. You ask a question and I give an answer. So I think, Richard, you're going to come up and you're going to give me some questions. Thank you very much.
Scripted questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Please, a round of applause for the President of the United States of America. Thank you. Mr. President, thank you for accepting to take a few questions.
Is that Canadian?
20 years ago, I don't know if you will remember, we were under the same roof in Orlando and you were delivering an amazing speech in front of 3,000 sales reps. giving him the best advice to be successful. So what is the best piece of advice
We
that you
already
have ever
watched
received?
this.
Well, I think it was watching my father. You know, my father was a very hard worker, and he just worked hard.
Ah, here we go. What's this? This is for the title of the video.
The sweetest moments deserve the boldest
Supposedly-
flavors. Like our new concrete mix.
I don't know if it was a fake thing or not, but supposedly China caved to some of our tariffs first.
Companies saw huge profit
Trying to find
opportunities
that out
there.
right now.
But when the trade war
Correct.
erupted,
When I saw
tariffs
it.
of up to 100% and additional restrictions made US LNG expensive and
China
risky for
blinked
China.
first.
Gulf countries like the UAE, on the other hand, have favorable conditions in terms of infrastructure
figure out
and
if that's
transportation
true.
routes. It is also known that the Beijing
The
administration has recently become
He
quite
looks
close
like a
to the
dried up
Gulf
pimp from
countries.
the 60s.
This is interpreted as
Don't
a direct
he? That
blow
black
to
guy
the
that was
energy
walking on the
sector,
side, he looks
which
like
is
a
the
dried
soft
up pimp from the
underbelly of the
60s.
US. Let's talk about how the UAE or UAE
A
will
lot
benefit
of
from
hype,
this.
no
The
action.
United Arab Emirates
Trump
is
can't
one of the
even
most
fix a
powerful
pothole.
hydrocarbon producers in the
Hey,
Middle East.
what Trump? First off, Canada guy, I'm in Chicago, where we're a sanctuary city for fucking Venezuelans for some stupid reason, and this stupid mayor of this stupid city wants to keep funding these motherfuckers for some stupid fucking reason. Instead of fixing the potholes, he got a fucking $30 million loan for. Trump has nothing to do with fixing fucking Chicago's potholes. Trump has absolutely nothing to do with that. So your statement is wrong, Canada guy.
Thanks to giant energy companies like ADNOC, they export oil and natural gas to the world market. Now, this
Our shithead
long-term
mayor has
LNG
to do
deal
with
with
fixing
China
these
could
fucking
further
potholes.
cement the UAE's place in
Oh
the
my
global
god, they're
energy
brutal
supply.
right there.
This deal could make ADNOC one of the leaders in the LNG market, some economic circles say.
We all gotta do a
Five-year
class
contract
action
with a
lawsuit
stable and
against
large
the city
customer
of
like
Chicago
China
for these
will boost the
shitty-ass
UAE's
potholes
revenues
everywhere.
and political influence. Moreover, by deepening its relationship with the Gulf states, Beijing can strengthen its
Are you
cooperation with the
Chicago to
Middle
buy me
East,
some new
not only in
fucking
energy,
bushings,
but
springs
also
and
in
shocks,
infrastructure projects.
fucking
By seeking to reduce US power in the
maybe
region,
back for several
Beijing
sets
is
of
also creating a
tires.
strategic gateway through the UAE. Perhaps the real goal is to undermine Washington's authority in the Middle
Nah,
East.
they would rather give
But
that
will the
money
United
to
States
the
stand by and
Venezuelans.
watch this rapprochement between the UAE and China? Of course, there are those who argue that such a sharp rupture cannot be explained by tariffs or political rivalries
Yeah,
alone.
China's got a lot of goods they
China
can't
wants
sell
to
now.
spread the risks in its energy supply and is tired of being threatened to cut off fuel flows every time there is tension with the US, some experts
That's
say.
why we gotta start drilling,
Others
baby,
say
drill.
the US has lost its price advantage in trade deals. Producers like the UAE are offering China more flexible terms, they added. Still, the consensus is that the insecurity created by the trade war played a big role in this
This isn't
decision.
telling me what I gotta
According
tell
to
us.
official sources, the new UAE-China deal covers a 5-year framework and involves the annual shipment of millions of tons of LNG to China. The official figures are not yet clear, but the US media is claiming a huge amount, at least 4 million tons a year. If this is true, the loss to the US will be huge. Meanwhile, it is important to note that China's zeroing out of US LNG does not only affect the US pocketbook. At the same time, industrialists in China have to adapt to alternative supply chains. The deal with the UAE may offer more affordable LNG, it may provide a logistical advantage, but these deals still have logistical costs, long-distance transportation, tanker and infrastructure requirements. Rapid
This looks like more so what my question was about. If it's correct what I saw.
At Firestone Complete Auto Care,
Firestone ain't paying me. Hang on, we gotta wait for this commercial to pass. Skip. Skip.
Paul, the client who was supposed to order 100 tons of steel has canceled. The reason? Vietnam and South Korea have imposed new tariffs, specifically targeting the steel industry. It seems this tariff storm is no joke. The bitter chill in the steel industry is already upon us.
That's why we need American
Just
made
10
steel.
years ago,
Damn, this guy
China's
just got out of
steel was
jail
in
in
high
prison.
demand
See this
around
guy
the
walking the
world,
street right
but
there?
now it has become
the
something
gray,
everyone is
shirt.
avoiding. Over 20 countries across Asia, Europe,
That guy either A, just got released from the county jail, or B, see he's right in front of Popeyes, or B, he got released from prison. Because he looks like he's wearing a prison outfit. But then again, I don't know what they wear in Cook County Jail these days. That might be their clothes to give them to leave in. I'm not sure.
South
I don't care to
America,
find
and
out.
North America are simultaneously building trade barriers to block the flow of Chinese steel. Chinese steel exports are on the verge of collapse. Let's start with Vietnam,
Yeah, that
which
guy
used to
turned
be
into a
China's
Nazi
largest
while
steel export destination. Due to pressure from local businesses, Vietnam's government began imposing a temporary tariff of up to 28% on Chinese hot steel starting in February. By April, the tariff on galvanized steel was increased to 37%. The effects were immediate. Chinese steel exports dropped by 28% month on month, and the trade value shrank dramatically. Major companies like Baosteel, Ansteel, and Shougang were not spared. Their market share in Vietnam, which once accounted for 64 to 68% of imports, has rapidly declined. In March, Chinese steel factories saw their profits per ton of hot-rolled coil drop from $50 to a loss. Vietnam saw a wave of order cancellations. Bloomberg notes that while these measures are currently temporary, they're likely to become permanent tariffs in the future. Vu Tran, a former regional manager at Cargill, pointed out that when Chinese manufacturers can no longer dump steel at low prices, Vietnamese steel plants will finally be able to compete on cost. South Korea's response is even more targeted. In February 2025, South Korea's Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy imposed a temporary anti-dumping tax of up to 38% on Chinese steel plate products, which are mainly used in shipbuilding and construction. This tariff directly targeted China's largest steel exporter, Baosteel at 28%, Shougang at 30%, and companies like Shantan Steel and Xiamen International Trade at 38%. After the tariff, China's thick plate exports to South Korea dropped by 14%. A month later, South Korea launched an anti-dumping investigation into hot-rolled steel from China and Japan, initiated by the South Korean giant Hyundai Steel. Vietnam and South Korea, the two largest markets for Chinese steel exports, together make up nearly 20% of total exports. With both of them now blocking imports, at least 6% of the 110 million tons in exports has vanished. India, the world's second largest steel producer, has also shown no mercy. On April 21st, India's Ministry of Finance announced a 12% safeguard duty on certain imported steel products. The duty is supposed to last 200 days. This decision comes at a time when India has become a net importer of finished steel for the second consecutive year, with imports reaching 9.5 million tons, the highest in 9 years. The massive influx of Chinese steel has forced some Indian steel plants to cut production and even consider layoffs. India's Steel Minister Kumaraswamy stated that this measure will provide crucial breathing space for local steel plants, especially small and medium-sized enterprises. The European Union has also acted swiftly and decisively. On January 13, 2025, the European Commission imposed temporary anti-dumping duties ranging from 14.1% to 62.6% on Chinese tin plate and non-alloy steel products. In May 2023, the EU launched an anti-dumping investigation into Chinese tin plate, which led to an 18% drop in exports. Between January and May last year, it fell another 7.25%.
Like, there ain't no reason. Who the fuck was doing all that? There ain't no reason they could have made these sidewalks a little bit smaller and put the fucking bike lanes both on the same side of the street and had another lane of traffic in either direction. There used to be on this street, there would be parking on each side and 2 lanes of traffic. But then they put these stupid bike lanes in. And now they got more traffic than there should be.
Now, Chinese steel manufacturers are turning to Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and other markets. On April 1st, the EU reduced steel import quotas by 15%, leaving only 10 million tons of duty-free imports. Products exceeding the quota will be taxed at 20%.
Let's see what this is about.
Joining me now is the Gatestone Institute senior fellow and author of Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America, Gordon Chang. Gordon, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I know you've got a new op-ed out saying that China has folded in the trade war.
Oh, they did fold. I was right.
Yeah, the important thing here is that China, without any announcements, is not collecting tariffs on important goods. So, for instance, some semiconductors, aviation products, industrial chemicals, medical devices, some medicines. And also they're going to expand that list because there are lists circulating in China of 131 items that China may not impose tariffs. So this is going to expand. It means that China is made an important concession, but it's not saying it's making a concession, which is a fascinating insight into the Chinese political system right now, which has become both intransigent and inflexible.
They want China probably is telling their people, nah, we didn't fold, we didn't blink first. China's probably telling their people of their country, nah, America blinks first. Because they're communists there.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because the president has said now is the time to hit China with these tariffs, given that economy is in a weakened position. How would you assess the Chinese economy right now, and what is the impact of a 145% tariff on Chinese goods coming into the U.S., Gordon?
Yeah, it's not growing at the 5.4% pace that they
or that what I saw was
it's probably contracting, as we can see from the price data from February and March, which signals that China's in a deflationary spiral. We are seeing underlying indicators that point to contraction, including tax receipts that were down 3.5% for the quarter. That's inconsistent with robust growth. And if China is not contracting now, somehow, it will be contracting very soon. So when you talk about the 145% general tariff on Chinese goods, this really means that many factories aren't going to be selling anything to the U.S., which explains why some factories have already closed and other factories are cutting down their shifts.
Meanwhile, the Philippines is denying reports that China seized control of that disputed reef in the South China Sea, Gordon, and then they unfurled their flag on the island. Now, both countries' flags are flying on the reef. China's Coast Guard is accusing the Filipino personnel of illegally boarding the reef, even as both countries claim control over it. So how are they denying it if, in fact, they unfurled the flag? I spoke with National Security Advisor Mike Waltz yesterday, and I asked him about it, and I asked him how the U.S. is going to respond to China's aggression.
They literally have the flag on a coral reef. The fuck?
Yes.
When I'm looking at this from a national security standpoint, we have to bring our supply chains home. We saw even cheap items like mask gowns and gloves, if they're made abroad and not made here, become a national security issue. We have to have clean supply chains for our military equipment. That is a key element. Rebuilding our military under Pete Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth, focused on meritocracy and lethality is a key element. And then, of course, working with our allies, and it's no accident that President Trump had Prime Minister Modi of India, had Prime Minister Ishiba of Japan, and made calls to the Prime Minister of Australia and South Korea. All of those pieces are key elements of our competition with China.
Gordon, your reaction?
This is really important because at a time when China needs friends, because it's not selling goods to the U.S., it is going out of its way to antagonize not just the Philippines, not just Taiwan, but also South Korea and Australia. This shows that China is going, this is end of regime conduct. Because, you know, Xi Jinping, he can't appear to be giving in to the U.S. He has configured the Chinese political system so that it is hostile. And also, because he's been making the claim that China has surpassed the U.S., he can't look dependent on trade with the U.S., and he certainly can't look like he's talking to the U.S. under pressure. So when you have the Chinese lashing out at the Philippines at Sandy Key, as you just showed, this is really very perplexing behavior, and it shows that something is very, very wrong in Beijing right now.
Wow. Meanwhile, China's Huawei is preparing to test a new and what they claim to be more powerful AI processing chip. They are hoping it's going to surpass.
Now, that's one of the things, I understand why Trump did it in America, but that's one of the things that it's scary what they're doing with this AI shit, man. Have any of you ever started watching videos on your phone and it was like 1 a.m. and it knows what you want to see next to AI on Instagram, on anything, not so much YouTube. Instagram's the worst, and it knows what's captivating you, and it's like a fucking drug almost or something, because it knows what you want to see next to AI, and it just keeps feeding you that video that you want to see, and before you know it, AI got you in prison for 6 hours fucking by watching videos and the sun's coming up. Has anyone ever had that happen?
The H100 chip, Gordon, what do you think?
Well, this is Send 910D, which is you're referring to. And, they're going to roll it out in May for testing. And they say it's more powerful than NVIDIA's H100. But let's remember, the H100 it was released 2 years ago. So, yes, they're making progress. But let's not be terribly weaken the need about this, because China is still behind the U.S. and the U.S. has not really imposed sanctions meaningfully. Yes, we have sanctions, but we've rolled them out in a way so that China can get around them. We don't enforce them with the vigor that is absolutely necessary, and our sanctions are not as comprehensive as they should be. So let's get serious about sanctions, and I think we'll put even more distance between us and China in the near future.
Good.
All right, Gordon, we'll be watching your work, certainly. You've been spot on all of this for so long. We so appreciate your time and knowledge. Thank you, sir. Gordon Chang this morning.
Well, thank you.
Apparently, Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, is true, because he's pulling off some good shit. Let's see, should we go to Tom Hobbit next? Or let's see what we got next up on this list. Like this street, perfect. Not really, but oh, here, did you hear about the judge that got arrested for ICE?
Or a loved one?
Hold on. They arrested a bunch of judges. You know what's funny? Two of the judges one of them that ordered the plane back from Venezuela, ICE arrested the dude, or the FBI arrested that judge, and you know what he was doing? He was harboring fucking Venezuelan fucking gangs, the judge. And that's just what they caught him on. Who else? Damn, you saw that car driving head on? Man, that car took a beating. Anyways, though, back to the judge thing. That's fucking so ironic that the judge that ordered the plane to not go back to fucking wherever, Venezuela or whatever, or the trend, and the other judge that was trying to have the fucking what do you call it? The Venezuelans to like come back. That's from El Salvador, because they think he's an American citizen. But even the president of El Salvador was saying, no, he's our citizen. He's not your guys' citizen. He fled from our country. So where was I going with that? I don't know. Let's just watch the video. Oh, the
just arrested for harboring gang members.
Federal officials arresting a recently resigned New Mexico judge and his wife for allegedly harboring a suspected Tren de Aragua gang member.
Chandler Grader is here with the
The
details.
wife kind of looks like the Tren de Aragua, like she was doing
Joe
him.
Cano and his wife Nancy each face charges of evidence tampering for allegedly harboring this man, Christian Ortega
Allegedly,
Lopez,
it sounds like they pretty
an
much
illegal
did.
immigrant and alleged Tren de Aragua gang member.
How does this happen? How do you rent your apartment?
And now that judge can see how it feels to be feeling like you're guilty until proven innocent. But he's probably got the money to bond out. I don't think they leave a judge in there. But he's now that judge is going to get to see what it feels like to fucking basically feel like you're guilty before you even got a chance to prove you're not guilty. But I mean, I'm pretty sure he clearly looks guilty of it. But
To this guy who's in the country illegally while you're a judge in America. This is the epitome of criminal sympathizing.
The couple's arrest this week. The controversy began in late February when Homeland Security investigations arrested 3 Venezuelan nationals, including Ortega Lopez, during a raid on the judge's property in New Mexico. Cano then resigned as a magistrate judge in March. Investigators claim Ortega Lopez has Tren de Aragua related tattoos, social media posts, and clothing,
and he's got a
and
picture
used
of
a
an
search warrant to discover
AK-47.
voicemails and text messages related to alleged gang
Hey, that
activity.
Jeep looked like a
Social media
awfully
pictures show
familiar
Ortega
Jeep that I was
Lopez
driving
posing
about a
photos
year
with
ago.
Cano family and posing with weapons that
that's too
Ortega
nice. Other
Lopez
one was
claimed
more rusted.
belonged to the
Is that a Christmas tree back there? Was this a Tren de Aragua gang member Christmas party thrown by a judge? That doesn't make
Hey,
any
he got
sense.
he got him some
Do you
Christmas
end up
presents
living with
of
someone
his
without
daughter.
having any idea
His
that they're
daughter
part
was
of
his
an
Christmas
international
present
criminal
from the judge.
organization? He had
I
to
wouldn't doubt it
know.
with the sick up.
judge's daughter.
I wouldn't doubt it with the sick shit this judge was doing. He probably offered up his daughter as the Christmas present.
Security Secretary Kristi Noem responding to the arrest with this quote: "Under President Trump, we have arrested over 150,000 aliens, including more than
what's up,
600
wonderful?
members
How
of
you
the vicious
doing?
Tren de Aragua gang. if you are here illegally.
And what did Wonderful say? They need to free that judge right away. Why should they free that judge right away who was harboring MS-13 gang member, who was clearly an MS-13 gang member, and he was an illegal immigrant holding firearms that his daughter gave him? That's a pretty dangerous person. Why would you want to free a judge like that immediately? Wonderful. That's a very... Can you clarify that? Because what you're saying in that sentence is just total lunacy. That's like being a total fucking wacko nut job with no common sense. So can you please elaborate why you think that judge, Wonderful, needs to be freed immediately? Can you comment that? Because your comment you just made me really think you're stupid. And then he said, he looks guilty. Hold on. That's hilarious. It's not that he looks guilty. He's got pictures of him and the fucking MS-13 gang member, the illegal immigrant the judge was harboring. Fucking, they got pictures together. How is that's beyond? I mean, I'm pretty sure he's guilty of it. Then you said, "Don't you think you look guilty? Guilty for what?" Wonderful. I want you to elaborate to me. Please elaborate your logic of why you think this judge, who's probably done this before, who's probably harbored more illegal aliens, and who's probably making a shitload of money off what Joe Biden did with having all them people coming here from Venezuela and shit. He was probably, I guarantee you that judge, if they do a background check on him, I guarantee you that judge was collecting a check from all them immigrants they were housing here. I guarantee you that. And if he wasn't collecting a check from our government, he was collecting a check from homies fucking MS-13 gang people fucking wherever they're at in Mexico. They were sending him money like that. I guarantee you. So why in the hell should that judge be released immediately? Can you please clarify your insanity?
The law, we will hunt you down, arrest you, and lock you up. That's a promise.
They should.
Rodrigo Lopez illegally entered the U.S. in 2023. He is currently facing...
If I illegally went to another country, do you know what they do to other, especially U.S. citizens, illegally in other countries? You know what they do to them there? Let's put it like this. It's not pretty.
Federal charges for being an illegal alien in possession of a firearm, which is punishable by up to 15 years.
And apparently the judge gave him the firearm. Isn't that wild? According to
the judge gave the guy the fucking firearm. And his and from what I seen too, his daughter also gave him a firearm a couple times too. And then he's got fucking on his face, he's got a fucking teardrop fucking thing tattooed, a fucking a little gang symbol tattooed on his cheek. He's got some gang shit tattooed on his neck. Why should that judge be freed immediately? You gotta clarify that insanity. I hope you do.
your post, this guy right here, who is the gang member in question with a tattoo on the right side of his neck, a tattoo on the left side of his neck, and possibly a tattoo on his face. How on earth does somebody get into a situation with a person like this? And what's the story here? He was just a guy they were trying to help out.
One of the most bizarre stories you ever will
Very
hear.
bizarre.
Totally. But you know, this is a reminder that when you have 4 years of an administration.
I agree that judge wasn't wonderful. Then you said what? Yeah, that judge was a horrible judge. Is that what you're trying to say, Blue Hornet? Oh, hi back, Blue Hornet. You said, I agree that judge wasn't wonderful. Yeah, I agree that judge was a horribly unwonderful judge.
Democrat Party completely embracing open borders. This is going to haunt them for years, if not decades, because it doesn't matter. These stories are going to keep coming out. They're never going to go away. They're never going to get over it.
And little Mexican girl he was with,
forever.
She was probably, there's the judge.
So these are people who aren't just embracing the idea of open borders. They're embracing the idea that people in this country who aren't supposed to be here aren't criminals who've done something wrong, possibly gang members. No, they're embracing the idea that these people are at the highest possible level of victimhood there is, because America is such an evil, terrible place. And here you've got people who've just got the worst deal possible from America because they're not even allowed to be in here. They're illegal as far as evil America's concerned, which explains how this judge and his wife, who have a nice SUV in their house that has a yard and is big enough to have this little offshoot home where these gang members were living, could do this. They didn't think these guys were criminals. They were trying to make the world a better place.
This is what
Wonderful. There's no way you believe what he was just sarcastically saying. There's no way you
Democrats
believe
embraced,
that. I hope.
bringing in literally millions of
If Wonderful does believe that, you have no common sense.
many of them gang bangers who committed crimes.
You know what the worst is, Charlie? They denied it. And then they told you they couldn't be stopped. It's a policy issue.
You needed new laws.
Don't believe your eyes.
There's a
Don't believe
picture
the
of
Border
all of them
Patrol.
together. Look. There's the judge, the gang member,
how these guys are criminals.
the
And they
wife,
say, oh no, they're not.
the
Look, I've got
other
my
fugitive
apron
they were
on. We made
harboring, the
steaks
other
together.
immigrant.
We went on a hunting trip. He's using my rifle. I don't feel like I'm in danger. This.
They literally went on a hunting trip together. That fucking, like, come on now.
Just absolutely crazy. You've got to suspend reality to think like this.
As KTSM has
Wonderful. His comment, he just said that's directed towards you too. You got to speak reality to whatever he said about this.
reported, former Doña County Magistrate Judge Joel Cano rented out
Flashing
his
gang signs.
casita, or a small home.
What are you talking about, Google? What did you say, Google? Google? What the fuck does that mean?
Behind their own home to Christian Ortega Lopez. They met when his wife hired Ortega Lopez to install glass.
So all this guy's social media is him flashing symbols and showboating about his new life in the home of a judge, where he probably thought he was going to be protected from the law, because here you've got a judge who's supposed to understand and know the law. I wonder what their private conversations were like. I wonder if this judge was telling him, hey man, I know you're a good guy. You just stay here, lay low with me. Don't worry, nothing's going to happen to you. I've got you.
His office says Ortega Lopez was seen with multiple firearms in pictures that were posted on social media. The Fed seized those firearms and arrested Ortega Lopez in February. He allegedly admitted to entering the country illegally in 2023. It's not known if the Canos knew of Ortega Lopez's alleged gang affiliation.
How could they not know? He lives in their house.
Seriously, there's no way in hell that judge did not know who the fuck this guy
been
was.
private conversations. But what's shocking is this isn't the only incidence of a judge in this country recently harboring criminals.
But first, a Wisconsin judge under arrest and
This is judge number 2.
facing charges.
I think the first judge was either the one that ordered the plane back from fucking Venezuela, or the other judge that wanted, I don't know which one is which, but there's two judges. The one was ordering the plane back from Venezuela, and then this other judge they're talking about, I don't know which one did which, wanted to get the guy back from fucking El Salvador that people are trying to make up some bullshit. He's an American citizen, but he's not. He's a freaking El Salvadorian citizen.
Accused of flouting federal law to help an illegal immigrant. Federal prosecutors say Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan allegedly helped that migrant avoid arrest by ICE officers at the courthouse.
Did I hear that right, Cook County? That's where we just passed.
His office says Ortega Lopez was seen with multiple firearms in pictures that were posted on social media. The Fed seized those firearms and arrested Ortega Lopez in February. He allegedly admitted to entering the country illegally in 2023. It's not known if the Canos knew of Ortega Lopez's alleged gang affiliation.
How could they not know? He lives in their house. They're having private conversations. But what's shocking is this isn't the only incidence of a judge in this country recently harboring criminals.
But first, a Wisconsin judge under arrest and facing charges accused of flouting federal law to help an illegal immigrant. Federal prosecutors say Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan allegedly helped that migrant avoid arrest by ICE officers at the courthouse.
Wisconsin.
So let me read a little bit from the criminal complaint here. And Judge Dugan said,
This is the one I think where they snuck the guy out the courthouse back door.
despite having been advised of the administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores Ruiz, Judge Dugan then escorted Flores Ruiz and his counsel out of the courtroom through the jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the courthouse. A foot chase ensued. The agents pursued Flores Ruiz for the entire length of the courthouse and ultimately apprehended him. According to this complaint, Judge Dugan was visibly angry that ICE was there to arrest Flores Ruiz, even tried to kick the deportation agents out of the courthouse.
Yeah, and to set the stage for you and Sandra, this was truly horrific. This guy was in court being prosecuted by a state prosecutor for domestic violence battery. He had beat up two people.
Again, you've got to withhold belief in actual evidence. You've got to be on some personal, emotional crusade to go and defend these people and to be visibly upset that ICE is even there to take them down. This is crazy. Second incident in 24 hours.
They wanted to cooperate. They were sitting in the courtroom with the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country.
There's one more judge they got too, a third one.
Commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes. Victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom, you're going to believe this, takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them.
And she did this in front of the victims who were there in court. What more proof do you need that illegal immigration and criminal sympathizing just puts the law abiding in danger? Here we have a judge helping a criminal escape out the back door of a courthouse while the victims are right there. And the judge thinks that they're doing the right thing.
While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
So when you see these judges trying to obstruct your efforts to make this country safer, what is your message to them?
We are going to prosecute you, and we are prosecuting you. I found out about this the day it happened. We could not believe, actually, that a judge really did that. We looked into the facts in great depth. That's her picture up on the screen. Hannah Dugan, who is now in custody. You cannot obstruct a criminal case, and really, shame on her. It was a domestic violence case of all cases, and she's protecting a criminal defendant over victims of crime.
You know what's happening here? You've got a judge who thinks that because they're the judge and they understand the law, that they're somehow above it. But then they look at our president, who these people obviously aren't fans of. Come on, there's no way they're acting like this if they're Trump supporters. They look at our president and they say, that guy's the criminal. That guy should be in jail. Therefore, everything he does that I disagree with, that's against the law, so now I can do what I want. In their minds, they have this belief system that these people are innocent. And you know what this is related to?
Hey, Brian, good morning. We're learning more about the Maryland man. Remember that Democrats are rallying around. Here it is. DHS sources confirming to Fox Digital that suspected MS-13 gang member Kilmar Abrego Garcia was driving an SUV belonging to a confessed human smuggler, and he was pulled over in Tennessee in 2022. He was stopped for speeding, but
so this is the guy that was, quote unquote, mistakenly sent to the El Salvador mega prison. Now, he's a gang member. He was in the country illegally, and he was ordered removed from the country. So he's in the right place. Yet everybody, all of these people, these judges, these activists, they're treating every gang member now as if they're just like this guy. They don't think any of them have done anything wrong, even though everything we know about these people shows that they never should have been let into America in the first place, and that they're very dangerous.
To the trooper, he allegedly, quote, pretended to speak less English than he was capable of and attempted to put encountering officer off track by responding to questions with questions. Abrego Garcia, though, was ultimately released with a warning for driving with an expired license. It comes as a battle is waging over his deportation to El Salvador last month, with legal questions over his due process.
Two federal judges issued an order removal. He has an order removal. He is home. We removed the gang member terrorist white beater from this country because the court ordered him deported. I keep saying the best that can happen for him, Sean, is he does come back to the United States. We detain him immediately, and we immediately remove him.
Meanwhile, out in New Mexico,
it's the same story. And they've actually done a great job right here by piecing these two things together. We've got judges and activists everywhere sympathizing with these gang members, treating them as if they're
wonderful. Is sympathizing with them too.
Absolute worst to him, who deserves all of the liberal sympathy that is out there. They want to protect these people because they think protecting these people helps them resist Trump.
Judge Joel Cano resigned last month without explanation after a suspected Tren de Aragua TDA gang member who had allegedly been living on the judge's property was arrested. Now, according to court documents, this guy, Christian Ortega Lopez, had been doing odd jobs for Cano's wife before being offered lodging in the couple's casita following his eviction from an El Paso apartment.
Jobs, okay.
Ideas are meant to live, and Floor & Decor has everything in stock to help bring yours to life.
His eviction from an El Paso apartment.
You know, and it's not even about whether or not you like Trump. These are obviously gang members. We've got the evidence that they're criminals. Somebody's got to get them out of the country, and protecting these people and trying to help them hide from the law just puts everybody in danger. This judge and his family, they don't understand who this guy is. They were putting themselves in danger by living with this person. What if this person decided, you know what, my time here's up, I need something else from these people? What if he had harmed them or accosted them in some way? They have no idea what this person's capable of because they've suspended belief.
Or what if they did bully the judge before any of this even happened, and that's why they're living there, because they in turn bullied the judge and the judge got scared, so he had him live there and harbored him.
About who he actually is.
Just throwing that
and
idea
it's
out
really
there.
not that hard to see what's going on here. You've got an entire judicial system in this country where many of the members hate the president and have vowed to resist. That's why you have all of these judges stopping these deportation orders to get these gang members out of our country and get people into prisons where they belong, where they can't harm anyone else. But you've got judges standing in the way of that because they think the orders to get rid of these people are against the law. And since they think they're standing up for righteousness in their own minds, they're willing to do stuff like these judges to break the law and harbor criminals, because when they look at these people, again, they don't see criminals. That's what you have to understand. You have to understand that when they look at a gang member with tattoos and a criminal past, they see a victim of America and they empathize with that person, even though they have no idea who they are or how much danger. A better place. They might be doing something that in their hearts they think is the right move. What do you think about that? Are these judges on some radical crusade? Can they be stopped? Are they going to stop the president?
Yeah, they seemed like they were pretty much stopped. They stopped those two for sure. They're no longer judges, so I guess, yeah, they can be stopped. I guess that's the answer. We got the answer. They can't be stopped. I wonder how many more judges are doing some fucked up shit like that. That's pretty fucked up for a judge.
Judge was just arrested for harboring.
And there's a third one too. If he says it in this, I don't know, we're gonna have to come back to that later. I gotta find out there's fucking immigrants living in this mixed shelter. We'll upload the video later.
Like Nancy, each face charges of evidence tampering for allegedly harboring this man, Christian.
Oh, is this the third judge? I don't know. We don't got time though.
Member.
How does this happen? How do you rent your apartment to this guy who's in the country illegally while you're a judge in America. This is the epitome of criminal sympathizing.
The couple's arrest this week. The controversy began in late February when Homeland Security investigations arrested 3 Venezuelan nationals, including Ortega Lopez, during a raid on the judge's property in New Mexico. Cano then resigned as a magistrate judge in March. Investigators claim Ortega Lopez has Trinidad related tattoos, social media posts, and clothing, and used a search warrant to discover voicemails and text messages related to alleged gang activity. Social media pictures show Ortega Lopez posing for photos with the Cano family and posing with weapons that Ortega Lopez claimed belonged to the...
Is that a Christmas tree back there? Was this a Tren de Aragua gang member Christmas party thrown by a judge? That doesn't make any sense. How on earth do you end up living with somebody without having any idea that they're part of an international criminal organization? He had to have known.
Judge's daughter. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem responding to the arrest with this quote: "Under President Trump, we have arrested over 150,000 aliens, including more than 600 members of the vicious Tren de Aragua gang. If you are here illegally and break the law, we will hunt you down, arrest you, and lock you up. That's a promise." Ortega Lopez illegally entered the U.S. in 2023. He is currently facing federal charges for being an illegal alien in possession of a firearm, which is punishable by up to 15 years.
And apparently the judge gave him the firearm. Isn't that wild? According to the New York Post, this guy right here, who is the gang member in question with a tattoo on the right side of his neck, a tattoo on the left side of his neck, and possibly a tattoo on his face. How on earth does somebody get into a situation with a person like this? And what's the story here? He was just a guy they were trying to help out.
One of the bizarre stories ever. Totally. But, you know, this is a...
And they say, that guy's the criminal. That guy should be in jail. Somebody's got to get them out of the country, and protecting these people and member with tattoos and a criminal past, they see a victim of America and they empathize with that person, even though they have no idea who they are or how much danger they're putting themselves and the general public in by protecting these.
Want to turn hair loss into hair gains?
Like, subscribe, share, thumbs up, and no comments, no.
It's moving along, but obviously
we'll pick this up
China's
later.
not exactly thrilled about signing it. We have a deal with some very good people, some very rich companies that would do a great job with it, but we're going to have to wait to see what's going to happen with China.
I like hearing it straight from the
I think
president.
China's going to want to do it, actually.
Because we're going to find out for sure if fucking China caved. They'll tell you, right? They'll tell you in his feet. No, Biden never did none of this. There was just a bunch of fucking people from other countries just tacking their way in here, and Joe Biden didn't tell nobody why.
It's the big one. And
shit, he probably didn't even know that shit was happening.
$2 billion a day right now, this country. $2 billion a day with tariffs. And they were making $2 billion a day.
That's
We'll be
insane.
making more. Now when you see what happened today, I don't know if it's still there. You know, it's just, I looked an hour ago, but we were up like close to 3,000 points. Nobody's ever seen a day like that. I think that's a record, isn't it, Thomas? Yeah. Is that a record? Who would have thought we were going to have a record like that after watching? But because the geniuses of the world, they get it. Our country is very strong. We were left a very, very weakened country.
Alright, like, subscribe, share, thumbs up, yo, thanks for watching.
Because of all of the tariffs and all of the other companies just raiding us and ripping us off. And also at the border where 21 million people are allowed to come in. Many of those people were criminals. And
what's up, Shivity? How you doing today?
For a living, and some of them are very smart and some of them aren't smart at all.